Next up is Hjálmar. Actually, can you turn around? So I was always very nervous to invite Hjálmar to speak here because so you see his shirt, and you may remember from the meetup site that this is a logo, and I basically stole it from him. And I'm sorry.
We have to look into the next database for that. So you should be able to just click on next. There we go. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Hi everybody. My name is Hjálmar Gíslason. I'm the founder and CEO of DataMarket, and I'm here to talk about one of our products, DataMarket Energy, which is an energy-specific data portal. But I figured I kind of wanted to give you a little bit of a background of the company first. So my funny accent comes from Iceland. We've been building out the product that we have for the past 4 years with the development team in Iceland, and now we're building out our sales and marketing and probably business headquarters in Cambridge, Massachusetts. The motivation for starting DataMarket comes from me and my co-founders basically wanting to scratch our own itch a little bit. This is my fourth startup. My co-founder has been involved in several businesses as well. And we found that whenever it came to decision making or sales planning or business planning or whatever it was, the relevant data, the numbers, the underlying marketing intelligence was really hard to not only find, but also once you found it, let's just put it like this. A typical scenario in searching for such data starts out on Google. It gives you links to the various Excel sheets and PowerPoints and PDFs and proprietary databases and so on. You may buy a market research report or buy access to a proprietary database. And now all you've done is just find the data. Now you have it in these kind of heterogeneous formats, and you still don't have any easy way to search through it all or visualize it or get the underlying intelligence out of that data. So the original pitch that we came up with was we want to build a Google for numbers. If you're looking for numbers to base your decisions or your plans on, you would come to this one place, type in a keyword query or have other easy ways of navigating to the data that is most relevant. And you would have it there at your fingertips in the format that you like to work with. And the demo I do of DataMarket Energy later on will kind of show you what the technology looks like. So we run our own data portal, datamarket.com, which is probably the largest collection that you'll find anywhere of open and free macroeconomic data there. We have data from the likes of the World Bank, IMF, United Nations, Eurostat, several local statistics offices and so on, all searchable, visualizable, downloadable in this one place. As it goes, when you're starting up a company, it's always a little bit of a random walk. So most of our money actually comes from licensing our technology to other data publishers, market research companies mainly. So among our customers are IDC, we have Yankee Group, we have Lux Research, mostly kind of companies in the market research area. So one of the things that we actually found with DataMarket.com, with the kind of macroeconomic portal, is that we went out there with a very broad vision. We never told our users that we were trying to be Google for numbers, but we just gave them a search box, and kind of implied in that is that you will find anything here. While what we were good at is macroeconomic data, and everything else was a little bit random. I think every business needs macroeconomic data to some extent. Growth numbers, inflation numbers, demographics information, and things like that. But it may be 10% of the company's need for quantitative data. And we figured that in order to move from being useful to being absolutely necessary, we had to be more relevant. So we started thinking about verticals. So that's what the topic of the night is. And the first vertical that we kind of decided to go for was the energy space, and that's what I'm here to talk about. These are just if I can go back, yeah. These are just screenshots of our system from the various customers that we're working with. But I'm here to talk about DataMarket Energy. And when we set out to do this, basically applying our technology to this space back in May, we started again with the open data. So if this is kind of all the open data that has been made available in that space, what we've seen actually is that people have been making all sorts of apps. They've been taking small pockets of this data and making it, super useful, super engaging in like tiny little apps. And we've seen a lot of those apps, and they some of them overlap, and in the kind of transportation space, and in some in things like energy efficiency, we see quite a lot of these applications. But notice how most of the data that's out there, at least according to this beautiful graph here, has not been utilized. There's so much data out there that can be used by businesses, in my mind, to make better decisions and gain better insights. And nobody's made that available. It's been put out there in different static files and so on. It's not very approachable. And I actually think that there's a lot of the data that has been opened up is useful to people that don't even know it exists. So in the energy space, I don't know how familiar you are with it, and I think you will find this in other spaces as well. You have the various providers. So this is EPA's website and their tool. They have their own specific data tool. This is EIA. They actually have 8 different tools to publish their data, and no single search to search through that. We have the Department of Energy. We have the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, climate change information, more from the DOE, the IPCC, the climate change panel. And there are actually literally dozens of these sites, and they all have their own systems. They all have their different websites and so on. And not only is it in different places, I've also explained this before, it's also in different formats. So this is actually at the heart of what we do at DataMarket. So what we do is actually we take data like this that has different origins, we normalize it, store it in our databases, make sure that we have data connectors that go out and fetch the latest data to keep up to date with our data sources, and then make it all available in one space. So the data providers that we have, I mentioned most of these already. The data providers that we have on the energy-specific portal are the following. US specific mainly, but also some international for comparison. And I'm actually going to see if I can find a browser on this machine here and do a demo. So we have a browser, and I'm going to go to energy.datamarket.com. I probably need to log in here somewhere. So yeah, here we have that. Bear with me. No. So essentially, front page of this website has different just an overview of different things that you can get here. There are essentially 2 ways to get to the data. You can navigate through the data providers, or you can simply use the search box that we've given you. So if you want to know something like jet fuel emissions, what's happening here is that we're searching. Oh, too many M's. We're searching through about 2,000 different data sets that we've taken from the energy space from the different data providers that I mentioned. We've created a single search engine. The search results look a little bit like Google's might, so these are titles and who is the provider and so on. But what happens if I click on one of them is very different from what happens on Google. So instead of taking me off to a third-party website where I'd find an Excel sheet or something like that, I actually get a view of the data immediately. So jet fuel CO2 emissions unit is millions of megatons of carbon dioxide, and I get a line chart that shows that. We actually see 2 big dips here. This is September 11th. This is the recession starting in 2008. And now we can go on and we can do things like, if we want to compare that to CO2 emissions from motor gasoline, we can see how the jet fuel emissions are dwarfed by that. And we can then go on to change the data view, make a stacked area chart, take a look at this in a table if we're just interested in the values themselves. Or we can, below the chart, simply download or export the data in various formats so that we could use it in other systems. Obviously, there's an API also to the backend system, so you can get to all this data now through one normalized place instead of having to go out to all these different places. So there's plenty more to it. I I don't want to spend too much time on this, but essentially the tool allows us to, in a single place, search, visualize, download, and compare data across a multitude of different data sources, all now gathered in one place. So if I go back to the presentation. What might we find in here? We might find gasoline prices in Massachusetts. We might find, energy production by source. Blue is still fossil fuels, so still some way to go there. There's car registrations in different countries. It's basically everything that has to, a lot of things that are relevant to the energy space, mainly from open sources, but we're adding some proprietary sources as well. So there are about 2 million time series available in this library, coming from, it is 10,000 data sets. I said 2,000 before. That is available in this library right now, and about 50 million facts. So a time series would be, the temperature in New York over time. A fact would be the temperature in New York at noon today. So about 50 million of those. All of these numbers are dwarfed by what we have on DataMarket.com, where we have about 2 billion facts from macroeconomic sources and other sources. So this is available on energy.datamarket.com. We're selling subscription, kind of seat-based subscriptions to it. It's all-you-can-eat buffet. We probably, to give you a little bit of a lesson about verticals, I don't think that we will break all the verticals out from our tool as much as we've done in this one. I don't think we want to rebrand kind of the site for different verticals, more kind of bring this into a single site where you can then configure it for the space or the geographical area that you're working for. But it's been a very interesting and very insightful kind of experiment, and we're running on with this product in that space. So with that, I thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.